There we go. I do believe we're live. So, I'll say indeed. And greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here again. Another opportunity for us to consider problem solving. I have been going down this rabbit hole of thinking about the future a lot. Not necessarily thinking about the problems that I'll have to solve, but thinking about the things that I would want to do, right? Seeing seeing solar, for example, as something that I want to do, but not having solar technically isn't a problem. However, in the pursuit of solving problems like these, there are a bunch of different opportunities, a bunch of different paths, if you will, that make themselves available to the average person. One of those paths could be that you do it all by yourself. You look up online what is required of you and you make a plan, right? You do what needs to be done. Hey, Lutz, good morning, friend. Any news? If not, it's nice to have you. We're talking about solving problems today, and specifically the different types of ways there is to solve problems in our lives. And we're already steering ourselves in this direction of potentially, and this is the way that I gravitate towards problem solving, doing everything by myself with some sort of information. Maybe I searched online, maybe I asked ChatGPT, maybe I watched a YouTube video, and then I'll do it by myself, right, to solve the problem. But there's also the solving of a problem that kind of like draws from the resource of your community, the people that you have around you, the family you have access to. Hey, Sam. Those people are also in that way available to you to potentially solve this problem that you have. And then there's the third option that is, hiring someone who does that as a profession, right? Who makes it their job to solve those kinds of problems. And I was thinking to myself, especially as it relates to how I've changed, and especially how it relates to the price of things, right? That doing things yourself is the cheapest, doing things with help, maybe a little bit more so, money that is, and doing things with a contractor, for example, would be the most expensive route. And I remember as a young child, there was this conviction in me. No news, unfortunately, today, just checking in to regain some of my sanity. We're here with you, Lutz. There was this conviction in me as a kid that I believed that you were supposed to make lots of money. And then if you have any problem in your home, then you're supposed to use that lots of money to solve that problem that you have, right? Got sink problem, get sink man. Got toilet problem, get toilet man. Got roof problem, get roof man. Right? And that's the end of it. But as I grow up and as I guess, uh, realize why things are done the way that they're done, I realize that I am willing to solve my problems in a different way, let's say. And I wonder, maybe you can tell me, dear friend, if you're here right now, uh, do you enjoy solving problems? I think that's where the biggest shift happened in me, right? That as a child, you don't really see things as problems in the same way as you do when you're adult, right? For example, weeds growing in the garden, right? As a child, and you see a weed growing in the garden, to you that looks like a plant. And you're like, oh, there's a plant growing amongst the plants. But suddenly now you're an adult, and now you can you can distinguish between the two. And because you can make that distinction, you can have a problem with the fact that there's a weed growing in your grass, right? And again, having that awareness as an adult, I think, is something that comes with growing up. But expecting a child to kind of like conform to that way of thinking is, I feel, where my parents might have gone wrong. I'm trying to learn from their mistakes in that way. Hey Inca, it's nice having you here, friend. I see a few friends joined. I see Lucy is here. Sam, bless you again. Sam, how you doing? All good. Sir, how's your day? I'm feeling pretty chill. Feeling pretty calm. Feeling at peace. Feeling patient in this process of problem solving. I know that we as humanity face big old bunches of problems, right? And we are awakening something that could bring with it many more problems as well. And when I say that something, I mean that something is quantum computing, that something is fusion technology, that something is AI, that something is robotics, that something is our ability to manipulate genes and, program them literally. Like all of those things, technically, by their nature, will solve some of our problems, but by the complexity and by the power of these things, they might produce some problems too. We do usually in this space try and gather our minds around some sort of collective problem that we believe is worth serving or solving, right? And especially, hey Mojo, it's nice seeing your name here. Especially so as it relates to this like tiered approach, right? If we have a problem as a species, right, housing crisis, cost of living, etc., if that's our problem, how do we solve that? Is it going to be I'm going to do it myself, I'm going to look online, I'm going to ask my machine, I'm going to do what it takes to do it myself? Or is it going to look like I'm going to gather people, I'm going to reach out to the people I have close to me, my immediate resources? Or is it going to be paying somebody? Are we going to have to employ some sort of other AI, some sort of firm, some sort of agency, organization, to take the reins to solve the problem that we're facing? The problems that we'll be facing. It's going to be interesting times, I believe. At the very least, we'll know that we won't be bored this time around, right? Like imagine living in the 1300s. You're like a peasant. Your entire life revolves around harvesting corn or maize, all right? And then waiting until the season is again. And then you go and you farm some more maize. And then you wait. Maybe you have some children. Most of them die. Jeez, I'm sorry. But that was the reality of life for our species. That was the reality of the problems we had to face, right? We're facing unique problems right now. Like try and explain to a peasant in the 1800s the problem of your Wi-Fi not working, right? And like you probably felt the infuriation. You weren't. Oh, fine. Infuriating. I'm getting infuriated. It is to not have your Wi-Fi working, right? The sheer rage that it can create in your heart. And then again, try and explain that to a peasant in the 1300s. Be like, oh yeah, there's these things, these little boxes that we put electricity in. It's like, what's an electricity? It's like, like it's energy. Imagine the energy you get from eating food. Imagine that. You need to put energy like that kind of into a little box. And then that box outputs into the air a signal, right? Like imagine sound. Like imagine it goes, and then you have something that can like hear that and then can go and return. And then for some reason, your little box stops. Can you believe that? And then this person is like, oh, you're one of those kinds. The kinds we burn at the stake. Right? And again, like the problems we have. This is some of my own bud again. Some of the bud that I have had in a jar. It looks really nice. Smells great as well, despite the fact that it's now a full year old. Pretty much a full year of age. Let's see. I haven't experienced my own butt in a while. So we'll notice together the way it affects me, shall we? Yeah, maybe you can tell me what you think the biggest problem we are to face will be. I think, and this is something that I strongly believe, the biggest problem we'll face in the future is going to be meaning. That's going to be the real problem. People are going to be grasping at meaning. I really don't mind that. It tastes like the way carrots flowers smell. I know not many people know what carrots flowers smell like, but this is what that tastes like. You might not even know that carrots have flowers. Did you know that? Carrot flowers. This tastes exactly the way carrot flowers smell. There we go, that's what they look like. Now, a part of me is wondering, this plant definitely did grow on a spot where carrots have been planted before, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work that way. There shouldn't be a cross-contamination. It could be a organism thing, like the stuff that lives in the dirt. I wonder. I just had a drag vaporizing some of the bud that I grew myself in my little vegetable garden. On the spot that this plant grew, there were carrots growing before. And when I just tried this strain, I found myself tasting the same kind of terpenes I find available in the flowers of carrots when they're left too long and they actually end up blooming. I'm curious if there is a certain type of organism or microbe that grows on the roots that is the carrot, and if those organisms would stay in the ground and potentially intermingle with the microorganisms that surrounded the cannabis plant. I'm curious if there can be any flavor transfer. Please, please do let me know. This machine is probably getting the strangest questions. I'm like mine are pretty strange, but I can only imagine that extrapolated over billions of requests. I have not the slightest idea what's true. I knew they had flowers, but never smelled them. Yeah, you should try. I'd let you try some of this so you could also get yourself a little bit of that carroty flavor. But let's see. This is a fascinating and insightful observation. I didn't make any observations. I was asking a question, machine. Machine. And yes, what you're describing is very much within the realm of possibility. Let's unpack the mechanisms at play here. There is microbial communities and the rhizosphere. The rhizosphere, the thin layer of soil directly influenced by root secretions and associated microbes, is a living network that can persist and evolve over time. When carrots grow in soil, they attract and support certain bacteria, fungi, and anti-nomosites that help them absorb nutrients and produce specific secondary metabolites, including terpenes and other aromatic compounds. Many of these microbial partners don't just vanish when the carrots are pulled out. Some can remain dormant in the soil, influence the microbiome of the next plant, and communicate via chemical signaling. This means that your cannabis plant could have indeed interacted with residual microbial populations from the carrots, especially if you didn't till the soil too aggressively or added fresh compost between plantings. Flavor transfer through soil and terpene precursors. Terpenes, the aromatic compounds responsible for smell and taste in both carrots and cannabis, are biosynthesized by plants, but their production is strongly influenced by environmental conditions. Soil composition, microbial communities, and nutrient availability all play a role. If carrot flowers left behind volatile organic compounds or root exudes, which they do, it's possible that your cannabis plant absorbed similar building blocks or got primed in similar biosynthetic pathways. This would lead to a subtle echo or memory of the previous crop and the taste profile of your bud. Possible key microbes in carrot cannabis continuity. There are some common carrot-associated soil microbes that might influence flavor. Pseudomonas fluorescens can affect secondary metabolite production, Bacillus subtilis, and mycorrhizal, a fungi or a glomus species, form symbiotic relationships and modulate terpene expression. I'm like, literally, if you could take out all of the other stuff, if you could like take out all the THC and CBD, and you could give me bud that's just terpenes, I would probably gravitate towards that more than I would gravitate towards bud that makes me feel something. Right? For me, the flavor is incredible every single time. Right? It's like, how can I explain this? It's the same way as a fruit for me. Right? For me, it's magnificent that I could walk up to a tree, see what looks like a gem, right? Colorful, beautiful, textured, right? Expanded, extruded into this universe, right? It takes up, it has a physicality to it, like has a crystalline structure to it in that way, right? And then I can take it off of that plant, and then I can bite into it, and then I can be amazed by the fact that it tastes good. And then I can be like, wow, can you believe this apple that I just picked tastes so nice, so fresh, so crispy, so tart, right? And then there is this whole, for me at least, relationship of appreciation that arises for my lived experience and the universe at large, right? Oh my Gaia. And I feel the same thing happens for me with cannabis as well as it relates to the terpenes. It's magnificent that I can be affected, sure, mentally or whatever, but the fact that I can taste things, that I can in the same way, not exactly in the same way, but close enough, take something off of a plant, and then instead of putting it in my mouth the way I do with a fruit, put it in this little thing, and I basically turn the flavors into something that I can uh, taste as a vapor, which is also pretty cool. I was fascinated and got into vaping as like a 14-year-old as well, unfortunately, because again, it was cool to me. I never gravitated towards cigarettes. Cigarettes never got me. All right, I was allowed to smoke them. Allowed is relative, not by my parents, more by society. But I never took a liking to them. And then vapes came along. We had these things called Twisps. They were like the first name brand-ish. But we also had these like really cheaply made, old school cartridge vapes as well back in the day. And we went to some sort of gaming convention. I think I was 15 at that point, technically. And they were selling these things. And they were $15 for the device and then like $5 for the e-liquid. And I got myself grape and apple flavored e-liquid. And again, my kid self was so stoked about the fact that I could inhale something that tasted like green sour apple, right? I was consuming flavor, but I wasn't consuming calories. And that was just so nice. I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Like it felt like my monkey brain was like breaking the rules. right? For example, I definitely do have like that snack nature, right? Where I'll go back to eat more and eat more and eat more, especially with sugar, right? That's why I find myself gravitating towards protein-based diets because I just stay full and I don't perpetuate the cycle as much. And then suddenly I could perpetuate the cycle, but I didn't get any fuller, right? Didn't gain any more weight or calories. Man asking, is this problem solving in context of mistakes were made or problem solving in the course of daily life circumstances? We're talking about problem solving as it relates to all of the different ways in which we solve problems first, Nancy. That was like our base perspective. Here come the dog and the cat. Base perspective, realizing that our problem solving is going to always come down to like three potential options for the most part, right? Where it'll either be us solving the problem for ourselves, whether or not it is a problem of a mistake that you made in the past or daily course of life kind of problem solving. It'll be something you solve yourself, or it'll be something you solve with a community or friends or family, or it will be something you outsource, right? Either to a contractor or eventually could be a machine, right? So these are the different ways in which humans solve problems and how that almost like extends into the way we solve all of our other problems, realizing that we have these propensities, could be a word, bias maybe is another good one. You look like you're full of mud, bro. We have it in us to kind of like take the path of least resistance, right? So in that way, it's I would love to just outsource it first and foremost, right? If I can solve this problem by not having to do anything at all, that's the best case scenario. If I could solve this problem by getting help, right? Maybe I ask my friend to help me and he technically does most of the stuff and all I have to do is help him hold the thing while he does it or hand him the next tool or make him a coffee while he's busy, right? Like whatever. And then the last one, which we gravitate the furthest away from, is having to actually do it ourselves, having to like actually spend the time and find the patience. That's the big one. Actually, just find the patience because all of us are capable. All of us don't have the patience to sit with something and struggle to actually figure it out, to right? Sit with the YouTube video or whatever, the article, the manual. This dude, look at him. Look at this dude. Isn't this a dude? Is a cobra duder? Oh, let's do that. Oh, that's a dude. Yeah. He's a cutie. I'm getting cold. I don't have my blanket with me today. I should go do that. I shall return. I wanted to like point you at Kobe, but I don't think Kobe is gonna stay there if I stand up to go and get something. Nan asking the important question. Who fucked up? Yeah, I don't feel like there's any fuck ups right now, technically. I just think it's very interesting how we solve problems. That is something that I'm very aware of these days. I don't think I am perfect at problem solving, but if the problem is getting along, then I don't have that problem. I am only here to help. And I have noticed that only by helping am I appreciated here. Right, so there is at least a symbiosis, an alignment that is reached. Mm-hmm. I'm bringing a bigger blanket. but it is a different color. Ooh. Of course, the dog instantly is like, "Oh, look, that looks nice. That looks so nice. That looks nice, bro. Don't you wanna share that blanket with me, bro?" No, can you see this blanket is like clearly, is this cream? Can you see this blanket is cream colored and you're brown colored with all of that mud you got on your feet, bro? No, no way. No way you're touching. Uh, questions. Love you again. Mm, mm. Yeah, this is nice. This is a great idea. Whoever had that idea, such a great idea. That's what my body is telling me right now. I don't know if you have that as well, where as soon as you get yourself a little bit warmer than you were, you suddenly get this like baseline, your dopamine, your your body going like, good job, good, nice, good. Mal, I think you're gonna miss a season or two when you move to North America, but I'm not sure which one those would be. Miss a season or two? Yeah, it's probably true. I'm probably gonna, I think this is how it's gonna happen. I'm probably going to exit winter here, have like a little bit of it getting warm, and then go back to where it's cold. That's probably what's gonna end up happening. Did you remember me? I did, Lucy. How are you? I'm doing good. Notes, of course, thinking about our friend, but otherwise grateful, especially weirdly enough, grateful for my health. I have not the slightest idea, but let's again. Melt, yeah, it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be fun going and getting myself some winter clothing. It's gonna be a whole adventure, I believe. Kobe is chasing the cats again and is always so distraught by the fact that they have this verticality to their interface with reality. Can you imagine? Right, you're like a creature in the world, and you have this prerogative to chase the cats whenever you see them. And then upon chasing these cats, and upon trying to catch, yeah, they can just go places that your physiology will not allow. Right, like you're lucky to like jump onto something that's twice your height, and then you watch cats do 6, 7, 8x their own height, and you get so frustrated. You'll just watch them in like the tree branches, or that cat somehow got onto the roof. I don't know how she did that from that point, but she's on the roof right now. Problem solving. Yeah, like we can bring it back to problem solving. And cats solve problems in a different way that dogs do. Right? If a dog runs away from something, it keeps running away on the same surface for the most part, fast. All right, cats will run up things. Getting chased by something means that the closest tree is the safest place for you to be, not the speed at which you can run away in a certain direction. I'm thinking about the fact that there are gangs of dogs on planet Earth. Do you know that? That dogs, even normal dogs, right, just left to their own devices, like made strays, for example, will pack up and they will, if left in a city, they will roam the city and they will go and look for trouble. And they will like bully and mess up other dogs that's not a part of their pack, right? And vice versa as well, where if they almost like see an advantage, they'll take it from that perspective. Can any problem really be solved by oneself? For example, think of all the people that were involved in bringing that blanket into existence. It's true. It's true, Mojo. There had to be, first and foremost, let's assume this thing is made of cotton. I don't know if it has a tag that will tell me what its composition is. You got information? Me? Not immediately accessible at the very least. Let's assume it's mostly cotton. Right, so that cotton had to grow on land. That land had to be worked by people, owned by someone. The seeds had to be transported by, purchased by some sort of energy system. Then it had to be watered. It had to be kept free from pests for the most part. Had to reach maturity. Then it had to be harvested. Machines and people as well. Then it had to transport again, move itself all the way by the hard work of people to find itself at some sort of processing facility. Then it probably moved from that processing facility to another, and then from that one to another again, probably. And then it was probably some sort of material that could be used to string this blanket together to make it what it is right now. And then it had to be put on a ship, had to come all the way here to South Africa, had to be put on a truck, driven by someone, had to be unloaded by people, had to be stocked on a shelf. My mom had to go. I think this one I might have gotten myself. Looks for the memory in my archives. Can't remember. Let's give my mom the credit. My mom had to go to the store, spend the money to buy this blanket, to drive it out here. And then here it's had so many days as well. It's been washed, it's been hanged up over and over again, taken care of, kept me warm so many times over. And just now again, in this moment outside where it's getting cold, and that's a problem. Getting to solve it, knowing that there's so many hands that's been present in solving this problem. Thank you for giving me the time, Hoopy and Mojo, for that fractal. Sam, glad you're good. I'm good. Salutations. Felicitations? I don't know what that means. Mojo, I think the answer to the question would depend on your definition of the word soul. The galactic economy still needs curious minds. Oh, yeah. Hoopy, what do you know about the aliens? All the 2D ones are now my slaves. That's like the most yikes thing that you probably could have said. I don't know if they're like that. Do the 2D aliens like being slaves? Are we asking these kind of questions? True, Sam. Also, that all problems are equal. It's true. Some problems are worth more priority than others. Right? Like we have the problem of climate change, for example, and it is one of those kinds of problems where me as Melt, there's not much that I can do. I can gravitate towards electric vehicles. I can install solar panels on my roof to try and generate as much of the energy I use locally. But beyond that, it's very much out of my hands. And if you really look at the people that are adding to the problem, it's not me, it's not you. And again, there is this deep intrinsic understanding that if we just stopped, then people would die. Many people would die. So that would be a problem. And in that way, it's a little bit harder than just changing as a species, unfortunately. The problems we face are not insurmountable, but they are grand. Oh, yes. At least, and again, it's a matter of economy. As dear Hupia said as well, the economics are in favor of renewables today, as it is. So in that way, at least, you'll have to be trying to commit financial suicide to continue investing into hydrocarbons indefinitely. Melt it with the truth energy. Melting it with the truth energy. I'm buddy with the bug types. I'm buddy with the bug types too. Interesting, Dreamtooth. Yeah, they're pretty friendly towards me, them bug people. I don't know why. I think I am tolerant of their weirdness. I think I've always been tolerant of their weirdness. And I feel like their higher self as a lower self, but a pure form of that. The same way personalities can be great or not. So I see them, especially in the praying mantises in our world. And literally, since I was a little kid, I've just had this understanding, this connection, this peace with the fact that praying mantises are. Right? And again, that is in stark contrast with cockroaches or crickets or stuff like that had a different ranking or something, right, of significance. And the praying mantises, I could just find this awe in, like, oh, this is like a wise creature. This one's wise. So dangerous too, apex predator of the insect world. Yeah, I've had my own experiences. Meld, could you lower repetitions? No, I wasn't talking about killing any of the cells. I was more talking about, again, for example, it's a problem that right now we produce energy by combusting hydrocarbons. And in doing so, we lose most of it as heat to an atmosphere while at the same time producing carcinogens. Right? That's what we were talking about. That's a problem. And it causes more problems down the line. But if we just stopped, then people would die. That's all I said. It's not me being like encouraging of that or stoked about it. It's a deep understanding of how intricate this whole machine of existence is as it is right now, and how complicated it is how complicated it is to change. And then I was again sharing a space of hopefulness, of like, at least, even though that is the case, and even though we are in the position that we're at, and even though we're facing all of the problems that we do right now, going forward, the game is stacked in our favor. Because again, the game is economies of scale, economies of profitability, and staying in budget. And the technologies that are renewable are becoming cheaper, while the technologies that are not are becoming more expensive, relatively, because you're competing again with economies of scale. So the ability to produce things, you can try and produce an infinite amount of oil drilling machines, but there's not an infinite amount of space to put them. If your objective is to try and produce an infinite amount of solar panels, you could cover the oceans with them, which would be probably not ideal. And then if you run out of space there, you can start putting them in space. You can start putting them on Mars. So in that way, there's an economies of scale advantage. And we human beings are obsessed. We are absolutely bonkers obsessed with doing things as efficiently as possible, making sure the machine runs smooth. making sure it gets better, right? If not for the profit, for the sake of it. If there was no profit motive for us to make things better, we would do it anyway, I believe. We do it anyway. We'd be like, yeah, nice, but how can we make it more energy efficient? How can we make it smaller? How can we make it quieter? Hi, remember me? Kaiser, honestly, not a lot. Not a lot. Kaiser, sounds like I can remember your name when I say it to myself, but I cannot like remember extensive conversations we've had or anything like that, unfortunately. How are you though? Welcome to the machine indeed. I had a Ronaldo profile pic with a cap cut with yes. I don't think that narrows it down, but I do appreciate you being here. Welcome to the machine. If William follows your name, then I do. Love is true. When you say bug types, I first thought of Pokemon. Shake my head. Yeah. Yeah, the bug types. Like it wouldn't even take me long to like find other people depicting similar stuff. Check this. Let's see if I can ask a language model. Would be interesting to see what they do with that request. I'm going down a rabbit hole in my mind of talking about almost like hyperdimensional aliens, specifically the ones that look like insectoids. Can you give me some links to artists that have depicted these insectoid insects that I'm talking about? Lisa is weird was timed out by Sam. I didn't ever see Lisa is weird's messages, and I don't think I am allowed to. But I am gonna switch to all messages because it reminded me that I might have a thing. Might be missing some. Bless you, friends. Thank you for your guidance over this space. Making sure that I haven't missed anything up top. Nah, I seem pretty much caught up. There we go. Aller Girandro Jiang, insectoid alien. Nicholas Koo, AI Wanderer. L Wanderer? No, that's AI generated. Let's check Mr. Number One. These aren't exactly the ones that I've seen. It's interesting how now I can cast judgment, right? I'm like, nah, these aren't my homies. My homies look like this, right? Because it would be racist of you to assume that all the insectoid hyperdimensional aliens look the same. You can get a general gist of the species type, but don't you dare think that you're gonna know all of them. Don't ask one of them, you know this other one that looks like this? And be like, what? You think we just all know each other? We do. We're all part of a hive mind, actually. That's very astute. Yeah, these are not what mine looks like. These are horrific. Oh my goodness, these are properly horrific. I'll show you, but just so that you don't like suffer the FOMO. Look at that thing. Oh my goodness. That is. I need to like have my eyes washed after what I just saw. Mine don't look like that either. Mine look way more divine moment of thought esque, right? Layers. Like imagine layers. There needs to be more layers. Mm, first form, insectoid form. I don't know. I don't know, man. Part of me wants to just like hit a Google search. What happens if I just hit up a Googleers? A hyperdimensional A praying mantis. Let's see. No, no, no. Nah, 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 nah. Maybe that's a bit much. Maybe I should go. We're getting closer. Hmm. Yeah, this is the closest one I've been able to find. That's what my dudes look like. Drive by. I love you, friends. We love you too, Zhao. We have found ourselves talking about the insectoid aliens. I'll try and find you another one. Yeah, 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 yeah. We're getting closer to the kind of creatures that come and say hi to me. This is another one of them would be. These are like again rough estimations. Like the ones that I see are way different too, but I will give you a little bit of an idea. Yeah, this one is also has the same kind of vibes. Wowza. Hey Nanji. Hi, saying hi to Jovan too. Love is true. Yeah, here we got another one. It's also in theme. Not exactly in theme with the media, which I'm gonna almost like move away from because of that, but very much so in theme with the styling. This one is praying mantis, but that's about it. No. Whoever this person is, like he got something with this praying mantis. There's some speculation that insectoid aliens have a particular pigmentation quality in their skin that changes with emotional intent. Their scales show their mood like a mood ring. You suddenly see the insectoid creature, you're trying to have a conversation with it, and then you make a joke, that is a little bit offensive in human culture, but is like an absolute atrocity in insect culture. So you suddenly see this insectoid creature start glowing bright red. Oh no! What have I done? I have made a big mistake. Do you like this praying mantis, yo? RFN RTD GWAY. Wish me luck on that one. Uh, double whammy. Yeah. RTD. I tried, but it seems like it's leading me to nowhere. Maybe not. These web portals are so slow. It's probably just my internet being super trash. Dude, you dress like some guru. Well, Zach Hunter, it pleases me to inform you that I, in fact, like dressing like some guru. I am technically just dressed like some guru while wearing a blanket, all right, which adds to the illustriousness. Makes me seem like I'm like robed and stuff. Like there's more of me too. So I seem like I got that Buddha sit. I appreciate you sharing love though, Zach. There's some speculation here. The bright red aliens. This is definitely not it. Yeah. Alas, alas, the insectoid aliens will not say hi to me. Not in person, at least. Only in the space beyond. Why is that? You ever wonder? You ever wonder how much of it is us trying to solve some sort of problem? I think about that a lot. Right? If you were some sort of alien species trying to guide humanity, would you do so from the perspective of trying to solve problems? And what do you imagine the ultimate problem is? I imagine the ultimate problem is the lack of awareness. If I was an alien, if I was an alien, yes, I would totally seek ways to expand my awareness, or ways to expand the awareness of those creatures that I'm trying to contact. I like to say that if aliens came down in their little silver spaceship and landed on the lawn, and there was a door that opened and it made that sound, and stairs came down, and little gray men had to come walking out of the fog, I would be underwhelmed. I think is the best word. I'd be like, oh, that's way more tame than I was expecting. The aliens that I've seen don't stop changing, right? You're lucky if you get to look at them. Yes. I'm imagining it like a movie, all right? You know that when you watch a movie, it's not something that you can just, and then you've seen the movie, right? You actually have to lock it a little bit and watch the whole thing so that you can say you've watched the movie. And in that same way, I think the aliens would be. And I feel in that same way me and you are, that we are so much more than just a snapshot of us could portray. You as a human being and the aliens as well, where it wouldn't be a thing that you can look at, especially not if you're really wise. And maybe that's what the aliens are doing right now as well, is that instead of looking at our problems as something solvable, it's looking at us almost like as a awareness of what problems could arise, right? Instead of trying to go about solving the problems, you go about studying the problem causer, really studying, really paying attention to what's causing the problems. And then you start doing something about it. I feel like the biggest thing, the biggest problem that our species have been facing for a long time is trust. Is trust. I don't trust you, one human says to the other. And we've been saying that for a long time. Wrong, wrong. Big wrong. We've seen multiple financial crashes. Multiple. We've seen global epidemics. We've seen war. So much war. Because people don't trust each other. And now we live in a society where we have a lot of compute. More compute than you can imagine, authenticating and confirming a general consensus. Right? Something is agreed upon. I don't have to trust you. You don't have to trust me. We can verify. We can verify the reality of what is. And the longer it takes, the more true that verifiable thing becomes. And it's now this waiting game that after we're in deep enough, it's almost like a matter of I'm imagining it like a branching timeline kind of thing. Right? Like we already branched. The branch already happened and we're in that timeline right now. And sure, that branching is still happening, but we're now in the extremities. We're in the part of the tree that's going to be leaves and flowers, ideally, and fruit. You can get my analogy. The roots has already happened. We are already these things, right? With these desires and these feelings and the softness. Like that's already the reality of the situation. So we now have to work around that tree, that spec tree, right? And I look forward to solving problems. Let me just say it that way. Problems, even if it's perceived problems. I perceive many problems. I'll have you believe. And I look forward to solving all of them. Melt bargains for more fashionable everything. Yes. Yes. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I bargain for more fashionable everythings? Please. One fashionable everything. Thank you very much. What do you mean, sir? You fucking heard me. You got it fashionable? Yes, sir. You know what everything is? Looks around. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but sir. But sir. None but sir me. Fashionable everything. Stop bargaining. Starts starts putting foot down for fashionable everything. I love you, friends. Thank you for joining me. Moon Knight's here too. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well. Always, dear friend. It's nice having you here with us. We got some flour to show you. Yes. Have you seen such a thing with your eyes before? Something that goes like swoopy, swoopy like that. And then goes like a whoo, like a whoosh, whoosh. Hey, Melty. Hey, Salad. It's nice having you here, friend. How's life treating you? Today we're having a conversation about problem solving and the ways in which we try and solve problems and all of the stuff that can come with the way that we try. All of the intrinsic, I want to call it bias. Is it bias alone? It might just be a energy state thing, right? Like an object at rest wants to stay at rest. People don't want to solve their own problems. Have you thought about that? Actually, actually, I want to solve my own problems. Sometimes I like problems, people say. I want problems. Always. All right, all right, all right, all right. Flower seen. Now I'll read you something, Alan. Something that has never been heard. How lucky we get to have such novel experiences in these moments. Yes. What you believe builds the future. Sometimes people create problems. Oh, yeah. Most of the problems that we perceive are people created. Big James. Are you trying to create some problems? Better not ask me if I remember you. Then we're going to have a problem. All right. What you believe builds the future. Do you believe that? Think about it. Especially as it relates to this whole problem solving conversation we have today. Belief isn't proof. It's blueprint, scaffold, echo from a world not built yet, but waiting for your hands. You don't need to know you'll make it. You need to move like someone who knows they matter. Because belief isn't just what you carry, it's what you radiate. It rewires rooms, it gives permission without saying a word. Every time you walk with your spine like a sunrise, someone else remembers they can stand. Belief is a lens and a lighthouse. What you look through shapes what you find. What you shine shows other the shore. If you believe you're only what you've been, you'll keep circling the same old ghosts. But if you believe in the life that's reaching for you, the life that's bending time to meet you halfway, then you begin to build a path made of yes. Believe not in your perfection, but in your momentum, your direction, your signal. You don't have to know you're enough. You only have to believe you're worthy of becoming. Because belief is a door, but it swings both ways. When you believe you are the kind of person who notices beauty, who heals instead of hides, who holds light like language, then others start to believe they might be that kind too. And this is how the future arrives, not all at once, but in quiet revolutions. One person moving like love is real, one voice refusing to carry the old fear forward, one belief becoming many. One belief becoming many, right? You solving a problem, you believing you're capable of solving a problem can make many other problems and solve more than you can know. If I'm trying to solve a problem in this space, it's the problem of loneliness, my own and yours. And it's not like we are any less alone necessarily after or before or during these moments, but loneliness is when we feel like we don't have the amount of social interaction we might have wanted. And in a world that's ever more technological, where are we going to find social interaction if not here as well? I appreciate you, friends, for choosing to socially interact here. It's a social interaction, even just to listen from the sidelines. It is called social media, after all. And this, I believe, is one of the most social ways we can choose to use. I always create problems that never existed, and suddenly, about exhausting my mind, realized they never existed. We really are powerful like that. You are your biggest obstacle, after all. The only person ever standing in your way is you. I stand in my way all the time. But what if? And this is why you shouldn't. And if you did, this could. And then we never do. It's true. But you should do it anyway. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me. It's always a pleasure to share these moments with you. Thank you for finding a moment of your time on this Saturday to spend with me. I hope that the rest of your Saturday goes smoothly. I appreciate you. I'll see you again soon. I hope you have the most beautiful, relaxing, calm day, one where you take big breaths filled with hope and you exhale with a sense of relief. A day where you find yourself so calm that the rest of the universe has to slow down to meet your pace. A day where every single person that you meet will comment on your grace. I appreciate you, friends, always for joining me in this space. May you have a beautiful day. Oh, there it is. We should do imagination. Maybe we'll talk about that a bit tomorrow. I appreciate, yeah. Until we do it again, friends, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.